Good morning everyone. My name is KOYEL MODAK. I am from B.Ed second sem, Shiliguri B.Ed College. My method paper is history. Today we will discuss about three settlement: Raitwari settlement, permanent settlement and the Mahalwari settlement. Okay. So first we will discuss about the Raitwari settlement. The Raitwari settlement basically introduced by the Thomas Munro in 1820. Okay, and this settlement basically introduced in the Madras Presidency, Bombay and the some places of the Assam. Okay, so in the Raitwari system, the ownership basically handed over directly to the peasants, and the main principle of the Raitwari system was to collect the land revenue from the each and individual cultivators by the different by the government agents. Okay, so this was the introduction of the Raitwari settlement. Now we will discuss about the features of the Raitwari settlement. Okay, first, there was no landlord class in the Madras Presidency, so basically the land revenue agreement was directly done by the peasants. Okay, and next is the land revenue in the Raitwari settlement was not fixed in the nature. In the Raitwari settlement, the land revenue was not fixed, it was changed. Okay, and the land revenue demand was quite high. Next, the 45 to 55% of the land revenue 45 to 55% of the total produce land revenue demand. Okay, and next is that there was no relaxation of revenue during the case of the bad harvest or the natural calamities. Okay, next is the social feature of the Raitwari settlement was that the actual cultivating peasants, okay, the actual cultivating peasants known as the ryots, okay, and the riots, and they secured the title as the occupants. Okay, and but there was also the possibilities that the landlord or the non-cultivating aristocrat is being identified as the occupants of the land, and this was prevalent in the irrigated district like the Tamjavar in the Tamil Nadu. Okay, rats have thousands of acres of land. Okay, next features of the Raitwari settlement was the Raitwari system could not bring any change in the past, and it was the continuation of the old system. Okay, the Raitwari settlement could not eliminate the village elites. Okay, and between the government and the peasantry, and the village power structure was hardly altered and indeed even more strengthened by the new system. Okay, so basically this was the some features of the Raitwari settlement. And now we will discuss about the impact of the Raitwari settlement in the society. The first is the effect of the Raitwari system on the rural economy was harmful. Okay, the peasants was impoverished and lack of resources cultivate the new lands. Next, the heavy burden of the taxation destroyed the land market, and no buyers of the land, and there was no buyers of the land because due to the heavy land revenue. And next is the Raitwari system had reduced the peasants to extreme poverty and caused the chronic famine and the starvation and the hunger. Okay, so this was the effect or the impact of the Raitwari system on the society. Okay, next we will discuss about the permanent settlement. In 1793, Lord Cornwallis introduced the permanent settlement in Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. Okay, and this was agreement between the English East India Company and the landlords of the Bengal to settle the land revenue system to be raised. Now we will discuss about the features of the permanent settlement. Okay, so first, there was permanent settlement was basically made with the zamindars. Okay, basically because it was agreement was basically between the English East India Company and the landlords of Bengal, means the zamindars. Okay, so the permanent settlement was made with the zamindars. Next is the zamindars were given permanent property right over the land. The main ownership of the land was given to the zamindars. Okay, next is that the land revenue was fixed on a permanent basis. In the permanent settlement, the land revenue was fixed. Next is the generally 89% of the total produce back to be given to the East India Company. Total produce, out of the total produce, 89% of the 89% of the total produce back to be given to the English East India Company, and remaining 11% could be retained by the zamindars. Okay, the land revenue was fixed at a very high rate in the permanent settlement, and no relaxation were made due to the natural disaster or the natural calamities or the crop failure. Okay, and the peasants were expected to some time to pay their land revenue to their zamindars. Okay, to their zamindars on a particular date before the sunset, and this was called the sunset law. Okay, and if they fail to give their land revenue to their zamindars, okay, then it could be then their land could be confiscated and sold out. And if the main next is the main motive behind the introduction of the main motive of the Britishers behind the introduction of the permanent settlement in Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, to ensure the continuous supply of the revenue, to develop the Indian agriculture, and to maintain the relationship between the allies and the landed gentry. Okay, so this was some of the reasons behind the introduction of the permanent settlement of the Britishers. Okay, so now we will discuss about the effects of the permanent settlement. So due to the non-payment of the taxation, 41% of the zamindars of Bengal sold out. Okay, because of the heavy land revenue. Okay, next is the peasants were worst suffered in the peasants were the worst suffered in the permanent settlement. Okay, and their customary right and customary rate revenue were totally ignored. Totally ignored in the permanent settlement, and being a state of Bengal suffered as much as small estates. Okay, so this was some of the impact of the permanent settlement on the society. Okay, so in the permanent settlement, we see that the main ownership handed over to the zamindars. Okay, and they manage all the things. Okay, now we will discuss about the Mahalwadi settlement. In the Mahal means the community of the peasants. Okay, Mahal means the community of the peasants, and this system or the Mahalwadi settlement introduced by the Holt Mackenzie in 1822, and it was introduced basically the western part of the India, northwestern part of the India, and some portions of the central India. Okay, now under the Mahalwadi system, the whole land revenue was collected from the farmers. Under the Mahalwadi system, the whole land revenue system was collected from the farmers by the village headman, because village headman on behalf of the whole village. Okay, so this was the introduction of the Mahalwadi settlement. In the Mahalwadi settlement, the land revenue was collected from the farmers by the village headman. Okay, now we will discuss about the features of the land revenue, features of the Mahalwadi system. Okay, so the collectors means the village headman in the Mahalwadi settlement. Collectors went one place to another place to collect revenue and to inspecting the land and recording the customs. Okay, and the revenue was not fixed in the Mahalwadi settlement. Okay, revenue was not fixed in the Mahalwadi settlement. Next, the charge of collecting the revenue, and paying it to the company, it was decided by the village. Okay, the charge of collecting to the revenue and paying it to the company, all these things decided by the village. Okay, next, there was no landlord class in the there was the middleman in this Mahalwadi system. Okay, next is the system of the tax collection. The system of the tax collection was perfect as common. Okay, and it followed a proper system of the land measurement and the inspection. Now we will discuss about the impact of the Mahalwadi system. Now the new revenue system introduced by the Britishers, it was affected the socio-economic structure of the Indian society by various ways. Like the first is the recognition of the individual ownership, like the village headman and the company and the zamindars. Okay, individual ownership landed created two types of the landowning classes, namely the zamindars and the peasants proprietors. Second, the inequality of the wealth, inequality of the wealth between these two classes means the the inequality of the wealth between two classes resulted in growing poverty in the society. Okay, next the farmers and the cultivators were being exploited in this system, and the lands of the cultivators being confiscated by the moneylender. Okay, and the main impact of the Mahalwari system was the breakdown or the breakup of the Indian village community. Okay, this was the main impact of the Mahalwari settlement on the Indian society. Okay. So this was basically the three settlement: permanent settlement, Mahalwari settlement and the Raitwari settlement. Okay, thank you.